360, D-18 360. What's that put it? 75, 76, something like that. I've had this guitar before and I did not get a chance to video it. The customer brought it to me. Hang on. Shut the phone up. Okay, sorry about that. I don't want to recap. Maybe I'll remember to edit this. Customer brought it to me here. I took it to him in Denver. It was rushed, you know. It wasn't rushed doing it, but I just didn't have time to video. And I was sorry because I thought it turned out really, really good. First of all, it's Sunburst, which is awesome. Sunburst always sound better. But this D-18 has a terrific neck on it. I really like the neck on my D-18. This is probably one of the few 70's D-18s that I would trade my guitar straight across for instantly, because this neck is really, it's a little fatter back up in here, which means that the taper of the neck is really, really even. When you get up into here, it feels almost the same. It's a little fatter, but it feels so similar. It's got such a great tapered neck on it. And I thought it sounded really, really good. So I did the full overhaul on this. We'll get to why it's back right now. I did the full overhaul on this with the tuners. This has got Grover 18-to-1s, bone knot. I think I did a full refret on it. Pretty sure I did a refret. I did a neck reset on it, popsicle braces out, scalloped the X braces, replaced the bridge plate with black locust, and it had a Madagascar rosewood bridge plate. Yeah, Madagascar rosewood bridge plate, long saddle, Stumax Gallard black pins, which I thought looked really good. We decided not to replace the pickguard, which I was totally on board with because I think the black looks really good on the Sunburst. I don't have a problem with black pickguards, really. And this has been replaced. This is not the stock 70's pickguard. When I got done, I thought this guitar sounds really good. And it plays great and everything. All right, so I got it back. And after a month, maybe 2 months or something, the owner noticed a bubble. I'm going to call it a bubble. A ripple. Ripple would be a better word. It's got a ripple right here. And so the top came up like this and did a ripple, an abrupt ripple. Anytime you see an abrupt ripple, suspect a loose brace. And I guarantee I suspected a loose brace. And I even had him go in there and probe on it, and he couldn't find anything. So I said, well, I'll send it back. And the bridge was coming off just a little bit. You know, so you have three things. And I could see, like the brace right here. So you have a ripple, and it comes back hard and flat on the brace. If you ever see one of these, you'll know immediately what I'm talking about. So three things going on there. The bridge, corner of the bridge is coming up, a little bit of ripple right there, and a flat spot where it was back on the brace. And I said, gotta be a loose brace. And I poked and poked and poked and poked, and I couldn't find anything in there. So, now I know from past experience that a lot of times something won't show up until it's under tension. So the tension causes things to separate. And it's going to be a very slight separation where you can't just put a mirror in there and see it. It'll be a slight separation, and then when you take the tension off, it all comes back together again. And so you get in there and probe when there's no strings on there and you can't find anything. I couldn't find anything. I even put little spruce patch back behind here to see if that would take care of it. So behind the bridge plate, I put a reinforcing spruce plate. I've got it right here. All right, here it is. I did this little spruce patch back behind there and beveled and everything. This fits right up against the X brace. This came across the bridge plate. So it basically went, yeah, right there. Right there on the inside, obviously. Like that. And I thought, let's see if that takes the ripple off. Because I thought I could feel like a soft spot in it, you know? Just my imagination. There's no damage to the top or anything where I took the bridge plate out, but I thought maybe it's got a soft spot, you know. I put that in there, let it dry overnight with fish glue, and the next day I strung it up, and immediately immediately you could see it. You could see that ripple, and it was worse. So I said, well, that's not a good solution because, it made it worse. So, okay, I got to get that plate off of there, because that's, it's just a test. So I turned the guitar upside down. I put a wet paper towel in there, and I soaked it overnight. Came back the next day, and when I turned the guitar over to take the towel off, the plate just fell off, which was nice. I didn't have to pry it. I didn't have to heat it. I didn't do anything. The overnight soaking of that glue loosened up the fish glue because it hadn't had a chance to really crystallize yet, and so that fish glue just dropped off of there, which was nice, So then I thought, well, all right, I really need to take the bridge plate off and see what's going on here. So I soaked the bridge plate in water, and I let it sit about 6-8 hours. I did it in the morning, and then the afternoon I came in here, and I started probing, and immediately I got a probe up under the corner of the bridge plate right here. The bridge plate actually was pretty good. I ran magnets on it so I could see where it was, and the bridge plate actually sticks out just a little bit like it's supposed to, and it comes across right here. So there should be bridge plate right there. And that's exactly where that ripple was. And the magnet showed it to me too. I put a magnet up on top here. I moved it around so I had a magnet on the inside. And with the inside magnet, I could see exactly where the ripple was. It was right on top of the bridge plate. So that's why I said that bridge plate's got to be loose. And after I soaked it in water for a little bit, wet paper towels, I was immediately able to get a probe under there. Great, I found the problem. And also, for probing this way, I was able to actually push it under the brace, and I found the loose X brace, which I couldn't get to from this side. So it was only loose this way, and just the way the thing was sitting. And then once I found it, I was able to get the probe in this way, but not easily. It came in from the bridge plate side, and it went under and stuck out under here. So now I had the problem. Well, then I found out that I couldn't get the probe under the rest of the bridge plate. The rest of the bridge plate was stuck on there tight. Has a K&K pickup on it, so I'm trying not to ruin all this stuff, I don't really want to put another K&K pickup on there at my expense. And I probed around on that bridge plate, and I thought, it's just this little corner that's loose. Maybe it didn't get enough glue. Everybody always, it's got squeeze out. Well, the squeeze out tells you that you got enough glue in there, And maybe when I was putting the plate in there, maybe I hit something and it scraped some glue off. Maybe I just didn't get enough glue on there. Whatever. It was loose. Maybe it got hot at one point and loosened it. Combined with the loose X brace, because this is a troublesome spot when you are taking a bridge plate off and you're heating the thing. I always check the X brace under here, and I didn't catch it, but it could have been loose. It could have been compromised a little bit to the point where the combination of a loose bridge plate and a loose X brace and pop, and it came off. Maybe with a little bit of heat from playing outside, just a combination of factors. So, main thing is I found the problem. The rest of the bridge plate seemed really, really tight. So I hesitant to just yank the thing out, I didn't want to heat it because I got a K&K pickup on there I'm trying to save. So I just took some fresh fish glue, and remember it's damp already, so having some dampness on there is going to help pull the glue into the wood when it dries. So I sat there and I pushed fish glue under there, and fish glue, and I pushed fish glue. And the beautiful thing about fish glue and hot hide glue is they glue to each other. So if you have tight bond kind of glue, it doesn't glue to itself very well, and you would have to really clean it out, But fish glue will stick to itself, so it's really to my advantage to try to glue it back together without taking it all off again. So I pushed a lot of fish glue in there. I got glue in under the braces, and then I clamped it. And clamping it was tricky because I had to have a clamp here, and I also had to have a clamp on the brace, and there wasn't a whole lot of room in there. So I used a piece of scrap wood as a caul so that I could actually clamp out here, and a piece of wood would press upon that thing. And then the second clamp also put some pressure on that little piece of wood, so that was good, I clamped it all up and let it sit overnight again. Strung it up, and no ripple. You know, maybe before it was immediately coming in, immediate ripple. And I'm not seeing a ripple now, and it's been strung up now for 24 hours. And it's looking good. If it causes a problem again, at least I know where the problem is. And so I'll be able to go straight to it, and I get a little bit more aggressive about it. And I also glued the bridge itself back down. And it was just a corner, so I was able to get in there with the feeler gauge, you know, and clean it out. And then I used that dust and glue technique where I shave some real fine dust, and I mix it with the glue and push that under there and stuck that down. And so it stuck really nice. I got a real good clamp on that. When I clamped it, I got squeeze out. Anytime you get squeeze out coming out, that means you're also pushing it in. So if there's any kind of gap, anything in there, when you get squeeze out coming this way, it's also pushing it back in. And a little trick that you can use is to push and release and push and release. And it acts a little bit like a bellows, where when you release, the suction will pull the glue back in a little bit. And if you do that a couple times, push and release like this a couple times, it'll suck that glue back down into there. So you can keep that in mind if you ever have to do that. So I'm confident that I found the problem for sure. And the lesson learned here is perseverance. Because when I saw that ripple, I go, it's loose. There's something loose. There's a loose brace. There's a loose bridge plate. Something is loose here, because it shouldn't look like that, especially when I found out, you know, when I ran the magnet, and I found out that the bridge plate is coming across this gap right here. This top ought to be stuck to that bridge plate. And so then I was really confident that we had a loose bridge plate in that corner. And sure enough, I got it and glued it back up, and it all looks great. I'm pretty happy with the guitar. I got to glue the saddle back in, because when I was heating the bridge and everything, loosened up. But I'm going to glue the saddle back in. Action's terrific. Should be a great guitar. Our owner loves it. He's been playing it outside at festivals, which is what these are for. So anyway, I'm confident of this, and the lesson that we learned here is, you know, perseverance. When your gut says, that's a loose brace, find the loose brace. And don't just go sticking stuff on there, you know, trying to throw glue at the problem. Find the problem. I'm never happy until I find the problem. I cannot stand mechanics that just replace parts without ever finding the problem. That's a little something I've been playing with lately. Just a quick thing here, using more downstrokes. And that's Clarence White's sort of break. It's my interpretation of his break on Dark Hollow, which is you can find a lot of videos and stuff on how to actually play it. If I was to play this in my natural right hand motion, it would be like this. What I'm doing there is I'm just doing what comes naturally to me, automatically. I'm using a lot of upstrokes. In fact, I tend to use a lot of upstrokes. I've got licks that go like this that are almost all upstrokes. That kind of swingy thing there. Use upstrokes, and then I do pull-offs over the strong beat, so it leaves you with deliberately a weak beat that to me feels slinky, And then when you have a beat going on, you know, when there's a bass player going on, that fits really cool. It's got a real cool slinky feel to it. But Clarence used a lot of downstrokes. And what was I reading? Was it Tim Stafford? I was reading something about Tony Rice. And the guy said, and he's correct, he said, ideally, you would like to use all downstrokes. And Tony used more downstrokes than like anybody. So I kind of been going back and paying attention to these things and trying to use more downstrokes. So here's what Dark Hollow would sound like with more downstrokes. And that automatically lends us a little bit more syncopation into it. So I'm going to play it my way, and then I'm going to try to switch on the fly. And that's why I was hesitating the first time, because it takes a different right hand chip to get it. So there you go, my way, and then sort of Clarence's way. You know, I don't know if you can see it on the video now, but I actually changed my right hand position a little bit. Come in, I arch my wrist just a little bit more, and I hold my fingers just a little bit differently to get more of those downstrokes. And it's more of a tiddlywink sort of feel, where you're holding that pick and snap. It's a rest stroke, but it feels like a tiddlywink, and you kind of got to stop and you got to prepare for it. You can't just do this flowy thing that's natural. A lot of people say things like, oh, do what's comfortable, but sometimes what's comfortable is not the best way to do it. And I learned that from archery. I told this story before, but in archery, things that were comfortable to me did not always result in the best score. I found out that I like to have a little tension in this hand to pull back against, and that helps keep my shoulder tight. And yes, it creates tension, and yes, you've got to build the strength to do that. But my score went up by 1 or 2 points, which is it's the difference between winning and losing a meet, you know. And actually, it's the X count that matters. And so I found out from shooting archery, from shooting points, scoreboard. Scoreboard is where it's at. And so I just found out from that sometimes what's comfortable is not really the best thing. Sometimes you gotta do something that's not quite natural, and then maybe after a while it becomes more natural. And so anyways, that's what this downstroke thing is getting to me. It feels, I got to think about it. It's exactly the same thing as cross picking, for instance. Cross picking, George Shuffler style, is down, down, up. So bury me beneath the willow, using a natural flow of down, up, down, up, down, up would go like this. Switch to shuffler style, down, down, up. Switch back. those are different sounds and different accents and different beats and different everything, you know. I think you can definitely hear the Clarence feel coming out through there. So anyway, quick little lesson on this great guitar. You get to hear the guitar a little bit more. And think about that some. If you're used to playing all down, up, down, up, down, up, and flow, try to challenge yourself and do some more downstrokes. So. It's definitely a more powerful feel, and I'm pausing in order to get that, which I think adds some of it. So, well, all right, terrific D-18. Yeah, I would love to have this guitar. I should offer to trade him something for it. It's rumbling, you know. All righty.